This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And why is this man smiling if you're just joining us? This is Coffee, Country, and Cody all over the world on our streaming platforms now, Circle Television. You can go to circlecountry.com and watch there or link to your favorite streaming platform at that location. That's circlecountry.com. WSM Radio all over the world, it's WSMradio.com. Memorial Day weekend is on the way. We're going to share the Wounded Warrior Project story with a couple of longtime friends, Sal Gonzalez, who debuted at the Opry just a few hours ago.
Sounded great.
Yeah, and Nick Morrison. Both are Marine vets and both wounded warriors, and sharing their stories here in just a little bit. Again, headed into Memorial Day weekend. We celebrated Salute to the Troops night last night at the Opry with Kelly Sutton there. And if you were watching The Voice, you were watching to see the season finale, season 25.
Yes.
And who was the winner going to be for season 25?
Right.
And it was interrupted by Reba McEntire, Coach Reba, inviting Lainey Wilson to become the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Very
so that
exciting.
may be the first time you're hearing that news this morning.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Post-traumatic stress is a human condition. It doesn't just happen to veterans. It happens to people when they go through stressful situations. And if I can get through the things that I've gone through, losing a limb and overcoming depression and thoughts of suicide and substance abuse and everything else, you can do it. And that's why I feel like it's important for me to continue to tell my story and share what Wounded Warrior Project has helped me accomplish in my life.
WoundedWarriorProject.org. We are headed into Memorial Day weekend. And Sal Gonzalez, there's your story from some time ago, and in studio with us to continue that story on behalf of all the wounded warriors and their families this morning, and fresh off a debut at the Grand Ole Opry.
Thank you.
Show them what you brought. You brought
Oh, yeah.
show and tell.
Just so you know, this is going to change my life. The maintenance guy tried to have me arrested because I was putting it up so they wouldn't tow me. My wife is no longer going to get to park in my garage now, so that's all mine. I just want to say thank you to the Grand Ole Opry. If for nothing else, that was a wonderful experience. I had a tremendous time. It honestly kind of feels like a dream, but if for nothing else, this is all worth it.
So what was running through your mind throughout the day? And when did you find out you were going to be a part of the special Salute to the Troops night?
Oh, that didn't come until just like a month or two ago. We found out all the logistics of everything, and I was just honored to be a part of it. I was looking forward to it. A lot of the 24 hours prior was me trying not to think about it because it's such a big thing and stepping stone for people that it can make or break some people, and I don't like to think too hard about things like that.
Who'd you interact with backstage? Because you had Trace Adkins and Craig Morgan and John Conley.
Everybody. I got to hang out with everybody and I have at least a few moments with everybody. I got to meet John. I met his son, who's also a Marine. We hung out with Trace, got to reminisce about some old times. And, Trace, it was really an honor to have him introduce me because he kind of kept me in town. There was a time in my career where I was ready to go back home and just resign myself to living, not being a professional musician, just playing in my garage for the rest of my life. And I got the opportunity to play a show with Trace, and he heard my song Heroes, and he gave me the greatest compliment I've ever received as a songwriter, and that's, I wish I'd have written that.
Wow.
And that kept me in town. That let me know that I
Did you share that with him last night?
I did.
Good.
I was happy
Good
to
for
do
you.
that. He was down a peg.
I saw him with a crutch.
Yeah, he hurt himself. He had a pretty bad leg break, and but he's such a trooper. He's so tough. That dude is he powered through it all. And I got hanging out with him backstage. You could really see he was hurting, but
he has been injured so much over the years. He needs like honorary wounded warrior status.
Yeah, honestly, he's been shot. There's all sorts of things have gone on with that guy.
Did a tractor land on him or something?
That or a boulder while he was bulldozing or something.
Yeah.
I mean, just
a tough man.
These,
they don't make them like they used to.
Well, they don't make them like you either, buddy. Tell your story for people who are hearing it for the first time. You volunteered?
Yeah, I
became a Marine.
I joined the United States Marine Corps as soon as I was old enough out of high school.
This was subsequent to 9/11.
Yes, right after 9/11. I joined in 2003, and at that time the country was already at war. But I knew from the get-go that I wanted to go serve my country. I knew that I loved this country. It had given my family so many opportunities, from our small family business in East Los Angeles to my sisters going to college essentially for free. I wanted to do my part and pay back some of those things to this country. And so I joined the United States Marine Corps, became a United States Marine, went off and was an infantryman and a machine gunner with 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, the most decorated battalion in the Marine Corps. Shout out to my boys. And we went off to Iraq in September of 2004, and I was in Iraq for 2 months, and I got blown up 7 times. So...
But the last time with an IED, which is basically it's improvised
explosive device,
and it's just homemade. That's what
They put it together in a garage. They get some explosive material and aim it in a certain direction, and as you drive by, they either use it trigger it with a cell phone or a wire or something.
But on the 7th occasion, you wake up and you're in Maryland. You're from Iraq to Maryland, as I understand, as I recall.
Yeah,
right?
there was a bit of transition. I remember a bit of getting worked on, being pulled out of the Humvee, getting some morphine, which I recommend highly if you're ever traumatically injured in that fashion. And then I fell asleep because they put me in surgery. And the next time I woke up, I was in Maryland, surrounded by my parents and a gentleman wearing a polo like this. And I was confused. What the heck are you guys doing in Iraq? Right. They said, no, you're in Maryland. You've been in a coma for a week. Both of your lungs collapsed. You almost died a couple times. You're alive. You're stable. The Navy's good at their job. Thank you, Doc Culata. And they saved my life. And after 30 plus surgeries trying to save my left leg, we ended up having to amputate below the knee. And so I have this fun little party trick where I can just kind of take it off, scratch my back with it, never without a pillow. It's surprisingly soft, carbon fiber.
This is like jumping Bill Carlisle at the Grand Ole Opry with his walker back in the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'd bring it out there on stage and put it beside him in his latter years, and then he'd pick it up, throw it over his shoulder, and walk off. So, when does Wounded Warrior come into your life, and how does it change? And
literally, when I came out of my coma, there was a gentleman wearing a polo like this and had a backpack, and he gave me a backpack and he made a promise, and he said, "On behalf of a grateful nation, we'd like you to have this. If you ever need anything, just let us know." And they came by every week. They came by to see me and just see how I was doing and if I needed anything. And they were really great. There were times where, 30 plus surgeries in and out of intensive care every other week. And I'd need to get out. I say, hey, let's go see Washington, D.C. We're so close. And they rented a van and got me out there in my wheelchair condition and brought me back. And then as I transitioned into being an amputee and learning how to walk again and all that stuff, they invited me out to go rock climbing and do outdoorsy things that I never thought I would do just as a kid from East LA. Not a lot of rock climbing. And I learned how to do that for the first time after I lost a leg with this wonderful organization.
Now, you talked about it was Trace Adkins and a compliment that kept you here in Nashville. When do you get to Nashville to pursue the music business?
I retired in 2006, and I moved that summer.
Did you? No kidding. Right away.
Yeah, right away. I moved. I was home for about 6 months in Los Angeles, and LA traffic is not conducive to post-traumatic stress disorder, so I needed a change of pace. And luckily, I had a very good friend who I was in the hospital with. He's another Marine. His name's Ryan, and he's missing an arm. He's my brother from another mother. Together we make a full person. And he said, "Come to Nashville. Come to CMA Fest. Let's have a good time. I'll show you around town." And I fell in love with the city. I brought my guitar. I was able to play a show and an open mic, and I loved it so much I moved.
Were you not a doorman at the Bluebird or something?
I was. For 7 years, I was the doorman at the Bluebird. I trained everybody. I was the last person hired by Amy, who was
Amy Curlin,
who was the owner of the Bluebird before she sold it to NSAI, and Erica and everybody took over.
Erica Wallum Nichols.
They're the best. And I just saw them recently. They're wonderful. I'm hoping to get a slot on the show. Hopefully, this Opry debut gives me some clout, lets me get on the bill at the Bluebird.
The other thing people will notice quite obviously from the intro to this segment is you have undergone a physical transformation in the last couple of years, not just mental and overcoming lots of obstacles, but you are in maybe the best shape of your life, I'm going to guess.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're going through a lot of adversity in life, there's so many things that must be fixed and must be addressed, but you got to do them a tiny step at a time. Mm-hmm. And so I had to clean my room, so to speak, upstairs in order for me to be healthy enough to be able to have the discipline to take care of myself and love myself enough to make sacrifices and do what I had to do and go to doctors and figure out what was wrong and really take care of it. Because I don't want to mislead people and say it was all just diet and exercise. Sure. No, doctors were involved. Yep. There was a whole thing.
How much have you lost?
90 some odd pounds. I've gained a little bit back. I think at one time it was 110, but I've put some weight back on and I feel better. I feel healthy. I feel carrying around some weight. Feel back fighting shape again.
Well, would you play and sing for us before we wrap up this segment on the Wounded Warrior work and woundedwarriorproject.org? Sal Gonzalez, if you're just joining us on Coffee, Country, and Cody, fresh off a debut at the Grand Ole Opry on the night that Lainey Wilson was invited to become a member. You'll always share that night on different coasts, so to speak. Yeah. Nashville for you and your Opry debut, and she was in Los Angeles on the set of The Voice, season 25, and was invited by Ryu to become the newest member. Come in there, blues man. Sal Gonzalez. Who'd you want to be growing up when you were a kid in East Los Angeles? Who was your go-to guy?
Richie Valens, baby.
Oh, is that
Valens, it? Yeah. La Bamba, are you kidding me? Yeah, I got it down, baby. I got it down. That's my man. I love me some Richie Valens.
Well, you're our man this morning. Thank you. Congratulations on an Opry debut as Salute to the Troops took place last night. Memorial Day weekend is on the way. More on Sal, his story, and the Wounded Warrior Project at woundedwarriorproject.org.
And you can watch Sal Saturday night on Circle Country on Opry Live. Yeah.
Very good. There you go. Programming note.
After serving in the Army and being wounded in Iraq, the mental and physical wounds of war became too much to handle. I lost all the fight inside me. I thought my life was over. But Wounded Warrior Project introduced me to their physical health and wellness program. Improving my physical health directly helps improve my mental health and wellness. Wounded Warrior Project empowered me to become a better father, husband, and mentor, and to take control of my life. I'm Jeremiah Pauley, and this is my comeback.
Jeremiah's story, 20th anniversary year of the Wounded Warrior Project at woundedwarriorproject.org. You can find out more as we welcome Marine veteran Nick Morrison to Coffee, Country, and Cody this morning. The pride of Bloomington, Indiana is in the house and just accompanied your buddy Sal Gonzalez backstage in support his debut at the Grand Ole Opry. Take us back to what it was like from your viewpoint last night.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. It was an amazing opportunity. You know, I met Sal a couple years ago, and we both served in the Marine Corps, and immediately I felt I connected and hit it off. But being able to see him perform last night, knowing what he's been through, the struggle that he has overcame to get to where he is today, it's powerful. It's moving, and it's a testament to his fortitude and resilience. And I'm honored to call him my friend, and I don't know, I look up to him. He's a good person to show us never to give up, keep going.
We'll share Nick Morrison's story this morning and how you came to Wounded Warrior.
I was 19 years old, and I woke up one morning, turned on the TV, and there's this building that was on fire. I didn't know what was going on, and long story short...
Are you still in Bloomington at this point?
Still in Bloomington, Indiana, yep. And long story short, I watched live as the second plane flew into the second tower of the World Trade Center. And I wanted to do anything I could in my power to help. I'm a fixer. I'm a helper by nature. I have a servant's heart. And 8 months later, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Ended up deploying to Fallujah, Iraq in 2005 and 2000.
Where'd you do your basic? I'm curious.
I was at MCRD San Diego, Hollywood Marine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, we get sunglasses and sunscreen.
No Paris Island, South Carolina for you, buddy.
We're just bathing in the sun. I know, I get it.
But go ahead, pick up your story. Now you're leaving San Diego on your way to Fallujah.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
A field trip to Fallujah.
It is all paid, vacation. Yeah. But it was a really interesting and special deployment. We were able to. It was our mission to go in and help assess and facilitate the rebuilding of local infrastructure. So our team was responsible for rebuilding schools, bridges, water treatment facilities, irrigation pumps, things of that nature. I myself was hit twice by IEDs. We were hit several times as a team, but really, the day that threw me was October 21st, 2005, and that was when a vehicle that I should have been in drove over an IED, instantly killing company commander, our only corpsman, our only medic, and 2 other Marines. And, that threw me. That it was hard for me to wrap my mind around why I was not in that vehicle that day when any other given day I should have been, and why I made it home, and why they paid the ultimate sacrifice for me. So I harbored a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and it was difficult.
So how long before you came home? After the incident?
After the incident, it would have been. Well, the incident was it was October 21st, but 2 weeks before coming home, I found myself outside of an Iraqi police station, no more than 15 feet from a 155 millimeter howitzer. Long story short, we had EOD come and defuse it, and I went up. I'll never forget talking to the sergeant and asked him, why didn't it go off? And he said the priming timer still had 15 minutes left on it. So it wasn't live. So had we been 15 minutes later, I wouldn't have been here. So that happened just 2 weeks before coming home, ending up back in Indiana, then trying to transition back into some sort of normalcy, some sort of, again, finding my place, which was a very long road, to trying to become a civilian again.
So for you, it's the mental anguish.
Absolutely,
more than the physical anguish that we know from Sal's story, which included both.
Absolutely, and this was this manifested in so many different ways. When I reached out initially, trying to get help and support, I looked healthy. I was in way better shape than I am now, and I'm not in bad shape, but I looked healthy. So I'm not missing a limb. I don't have any visible scars. I have a smile that I carry on my face everywhere I go, but internally, I was crossing all the T's. I was checking off all the boxes. I was working. I was productive. But inside and internally, mentally, I was crumbling.
And who did you reach out to first?
Initially, would have been with the VA. Yeah.
Okay. And did they recommend Wounded Warrior, or did they come into your? How did they come into your?
So Wounded Warrior Project came in later in my life. So I started going to therapy and getting help through the VA, and then for about almost a decade, I was in every type of therapy, both through the VA or privately, just working on myself. And, took little tools from each one and kind of just looked at it as another step up that healing ladder, up that healing staircase, so to speak. But once I found myself, I thought, in a good place mentally, it was a really interesting situation. I felt like my body rebelled, and I started having all these physical manifestations as far as uncontrolled adrenaline surges and adrenaline dumps, daily panic attacks. My flashbacks came back. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. I was 140 pounds, and I'm a lot heavier than that now.
Wow.
My bowels had stopped working, and I got to a point where I actually stopped talking.
Are you married at this time?
I was married, yeah. I was married at this time, yeah.
Okay.
At that time.
Children?
I have 2 beautiful daughters, yes.
And how old are they at this point?
They're 6 and 9, almost 7.
All right. But when you're going through all this, have they been born yet?
Both. So, I was struggling with this before having children, and then even
after they were
post,
born.
yes.
Okay.
Your body was literally shutting down.
It was.
Yeah.
So I say that my path was death by 1,000 cuts. I just found myself, it was my choice, and in hindsight, bias looking back, obviously it wasn't the best choice, but I knew no different because I was stuck in survival mode. I was stuck in and still just trying to keep one foot in front of the other.
Some statistics from Wounded Warrior. 3 in 4 veterans, that's 76%, report living with symptoms of post-traumatic stress. According to the latest survey, Wounded Warrior survey, nearly 2 in 3 veterans, that's 64%, said that they had trouble making ends meet because of the rising cost of goods and services. Same survey showed that nearly 4 in 5 vets, that's almost 80%, reported feeling isolated, which kind of sounds like it's at the heart of your story, but internally. So what do you tell veterans and veterans' families like yours going through what you went through, what they need to do this morning, what you would encourage them to do?
So again, I was a fixer and a helper, and for a long time, I would get so hard and mad at myself about why I can fix all these things, physically. I can fix equipment. I can help other people. I'm strong. I'm resilient. Why can't I fix myself? And then I had to realize that you can't do everything on your own, and I had to ask for help at some point in time. And I had to lean on the resources that were out there to better myself. And one, I would say never give up. And you never know where you might find yourself 5 years from now by making one small little change to better yourself, better your life, better your family, better your community.
Did Wounded Warrior find you through your reaching it, or did you find them?
Wounded Warrior Project, my ex-wife found Wounded Warrior Project, and they came into my life when I was at my sickest. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, without them, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
But not only are you here, you tour and speak publicly.
I do, and
right?
I get emotional still at times thinking about it and talking about it because it's I found myself at points in time where I wanted to quit and I wanted to stop, and I remember having several times thinking to myself, if I'm going through this, if I'm wanting to give up, if I'm wanting to quit, how many others out there are feeling the same thing? How many others out there are going through this? And we owe it to ourselves to keep going and live a full and wonderful life, because we've sacrificed, we've served, and it's we should be able to reap some of that reward as well,
including standing side stage at the Grand Ole Opry,
absolutely.
being a great encourager for your pal and fellow Wounded Warrior Sal Gonzalez last night.
That was awesome.
Do you play and sing?
I don't play. I love to sing, but it's more of a self-soothing thing, and I don't sing in public. I only sing.
Well, look, that's going to knock you out of an Opry game.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's we'll see. Maybe it's a fear I got to face. But I love singing with my daughters. If we're ever in the car, we're singing. So, and I love to hear them start singing. And as they've aged, hearing those little voices kind of perk up in the back.
Yeah.
And start singing along and requesting songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true joy, isn't it, to hear that?
Absolutely.
WoundedWarriorProject.org for more information. And thank you so much, Marine veteran Nick Morrison, sharing his story this morning as we head into Memorial Day weekend here on Coffee Country and Cody, after a follow-up to Salute to the Troops at the Grand Ole Opry last night, including Trace Atkins and Craig Morgan.
Coffee, Country, and Cody on WSM.
Mitch Rossell is back on Coffee, Country, and Cody, and that is a good thing. As I look across the way there, I see on your cap you've got this, what looks like a cattle brand, R.
Yes, sir.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, kind of. It's for Rod Patrick Boots down in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. So
works well for Rossell.
No, it's kind of a double meaning, I guess. That's kind of why I like this hat too.
Do you have cattle?
I don't.
Well,
no.
when you get them, you need to brand them with that.
Yeah, we got cattle across the street from our property, so
We'll just go over there and brand them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they'd appreciate that, right?
That's what they did in the Old West.
That's
got my
right.
brand on it.
Yeah, it's my cow. It's got mine too.
Well, you're on your way to gig Friday of Memorial Day weekend at the Franklin Theater at 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
And your Opry history. Take me back. We were just talking. Lainey Wilson is about to become the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry. She was invited on The Voice last night. Surprise from Reba McEntire. She was there performing, obviously. And I was there for her debut in February of 2020.
Okay.
February is actually Valentine's Day. Okay. And a month later, the world as we know it changed forever, even to the present. We're not quite the same, are we?
Amen.
And so Charlie then, in turn, gets to host her induction on June 9th. 7th, I'm sorry, June 7th. There's a 7 and a 9:30 show. There are two shows that night as a part of her induction.
That's awesome.
So take me back. What was it like doing the Opry? What was it like opening for Garth, walking out there with just you and a guitar?
Oh,
those moments in time that other people are listening are dreaming about right now, but have become reality for you.
Well, then it all came full circle because you had a very special introduction for your Opry debut.
I did, yeah. It was pretty surreal. I mean, I don't think you could draw out a better first time at the Opry. I really don't. I mean, it was magical anyways. You walk out there and you get to do sound check, and it's like spiritual, just standing in that circle and being in the building is just there's so much energy and history there, and it was really cool, man. And then I'm standing side stage about to go on stage, and the next thing I know, they're announcing Garth coming out to introduce me, and apparently it was the first time he'd ever introduced somebody, which is just mind-boggling.
Was it planned or a surprise to you?
It was a surprise to me. 100%. I mean, with Garth, there's always a chance because he's just that kind of guy. He's just a class act, and he has done so many things.
It's hard to hide Garth, though. There's an aura of Garth when he's around. So to surprise you was pretty impressive.
I don't know how they did it because my dressing room, right there, you got to go by the dressing rooms to get to the other, because he was on the other side of the side stage. He was like the side where nobody really comes out from. Yeah. And so they ran him by my dressing room, I guess, when I was preoccupied, which it's easy to be preoccupied at the Opry because you're looking at all the pictures on the wall and you just feel like a kid in a candy store. Yeah. And so I'm looking around, and they snuck him by and got into the other side stage, and he came out and introduced me and just gave an unbelievable introduction. And it was all I had. I almost lost it, and I was like, if you lose it, you're never gonna recompose yourself, because I just know how that goes. So I just had to I walked over to the monitors and looked at the monitors and just deep breaths.
So that was an early Christmas gift in 2022.
It was, yeah. Right? It was right before Christmas, about a week before Christmas.
So when were you opening his shows?
So the last stadium show I did was actually in August of that year. Which was the last stadium show. It was in Houston. Was the last show.
And when was the first one that you did?
So I started in March, the end of March, at Fayetteville of 2022. So Fayetteville, the Arkansas Razorbacks Stadium, I think it was March 27th or something like that of 22. Started there, and the last one was Houston.
And you saw him here, Charlie.
But I saw him at Bridgestone as part of that 6-show run. And I know you and I have talked about this, but it still amazes me today because, number one, it's hard enough to be, the first person on the night. It's really hard to do it with just a guitar.
Yeah.
But this was not a half-empty house. This was 18,000. Every single person was in their seats when you came out. And it's just, I even told my wife, and I go, you don't realize how just amazing this really is right now, because you just had them captured. I mean, and it's not an easy thing to do.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's also credit to Garth and just, again, the classiness I talked about, because most artists, when it's your time to go out, you go out, whether it's, a quarter full or 3/4 full. And Garth didn't like that, man. He's held us for an hour before when traffic's really bad, or if there's an issue getting people in or whatever. He's like, hey, there's not enough people in their seats yet. We're gonna hold for another little bit, and then we'll send you out. He's just super thoughtful about that.
So what year was the first of your 4 number ones for Garth? Ask Me How I Know.
Ask Me How I Know was 2017, end of 2017. It came out March of 2017 to radio, and then it went number 1 in November, I believe, technically the end of November, or it was maybe the 1st of December. And we celebrated it actually in Nashville, number 1 party in Nashville for the Bridgestone shows.
Home is East Tennessee, right?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you grow up
Yeah,
specifically?
kind of all of it. My mom's family's in North Georgia and Chattanooga area.
Okay.
And then my dad, when he was alive, he was in Tellico Plains, and his mom lived in Bristol. So I kind of got the whole side of the state.
That is East Tennessee.
Yeah, we covered it all.
From top to bottom.
Yeah,
and
we
bottom
covered
to
it all.
top.
Yeah, so I just can't ever say a town because I just, I was in different ones.
You know I-24 well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 24 and 75. 75, yeah.
And before there was TikTok, there was YouTube. Let's talk about how that played a huge role in helping you get some of your songs in films early on, before Garth, correct?
No, I don't. Not really any films. I got to do some acting in some real small projects, but the YouTube thing was hugely instrumental, like you said. It was real early on in YouTube, and I started putting up covers because my family told me I was good, but I didn't really believe them. And so I was like, these people will be honest with me because they don't care about me or love me. My family loves me. So I started posting covers, and it just grew like crazy. And
You say that. I'm reminded, Avriana was in recently. She grew up in Flagstaff or outside Flagstaff. And she said when she told her mother about the millions and millions of followers, she says, these are not real people.
Hey, these are not real people. Mom, I promise you
bots,
they are.
yeah.
When you said that you didn't believe that you were good,
Yeah.
even though they told you were.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
made me think of that.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, it was.
And so when is that like the beginning of your musical career, was putting that stuff up?
Yeah,
And how
absolutely.
old were you?
I was I would have been about 19, 20, somewhere around in there. I was in maybe my sophomore year of college, junior year of college, somewhere around in there. And I'd started writing. So I didn't start playing guitar till right before freshman year of college. So I just naturally started writing songs. I loved English in high school, loved to write stories and whatever, and it just naturally transitioned to songs. And so, again, my family was like, man, he's really good, and my Uncle Richard, he knew a guy named Mark Gray. I don't know if you remember Mark Gray.
Mark Gray at one time solo and one time with Exile.
Yeah, and wrote a bunch of hits and stuff.
Yeah, he did.
And he lived in the area because he had a stroke here. He lived in Nashville, he had a stroke and moved to Chattanooga to kind of recover and all that. And my uncle knew him, and he introduced me to him, and that really helped me kind of, think, hey, maybe I can actually do this, because Mark kind of took me under his wing and, showed me the ropes.
Well, I mentioned the film industry. Who is Roy Kirkland, a filmmaker?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he did some projects down in Georgia. He's done several movies, and he found you through. He
through
became
YouTube
a fan
in those days.
Correct. He became a fan of my music and asked me to come down and be in a couple movies. So it's kind of crazy. I was just a kid, it's funny to watch, but yeah, he's great.
Mitch Rossell, Friday. It's Memorial Day weekend, got a holiday weekend. So stay out late Friday night. He starts at 8 o'clock at the Franklin Theater. Franklin Theater, it's TRE Theater.com.
Yes. Beautiful place to see a show.
Yes,
the balcony's great. They've got that cabaret seating up front. It's just delightful. And good popcorn. I mean, you can't beat that either. So.
There you go. Got to have good popcorn.
Yeah.
You were nodding as Charlie was doing some of the baseball scores. Baseball, part of your history?
Yeah, I was a Braves. I'm a Braves fan. So, I don't get to watch as much as I used to. I used to watch every game. But yeah,
you look like you might have been a ball player in the day.
I was. Yeah, I played baseball growing up. Oh, yeah. I was diehard about it.
And who was your man?
Chipper.
Chipper.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It's kind of my nickname, honestly.
Yeah.
I played third base.
Did you really?
Yeah. At least when I was a real little kid, I was. And according to the coach, the only kid that could get it to first, on a rope. So, I don't know. He might have just been telling me that to make me feel good about myself. But Chipper kind of became a nickname a little bit and stuck.
You said along the way you and Garth play basketball together. You'd like to
Yeah, we used to play all the time. He still plays all the time. I used to live like 5 minutes from his house, and now I'm over an hour away, so I don't get to go up there as much as I'd like. But yeah.
You're down near our buddy Craig Campbell in Eagle.
Yeah, we're right down the road from each other, probably a couple miles away from each other. Yeah, real close. Yeah, he's got a great spot down there.
So what's Garth's basketball game? Inside game or is it?
Oh yeah, inside. Yeah, he's got an awesome court at his house, and we play a game that is really unique. It's one that they made up. It's really cool though. It's fun.
Well, depending on, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Okay. Because he may be listening this morning.
You never know.
I was gonna say some days he's more Magic Johnson, other times he's more Charles Barkley. It just kind of depends on what shape Garth is in at the time.
Oh man, that's funny. He'd laugh at that.
Yeah.
He'd laugh at that. Yeah, he can play though, man. He can shoot. He can play.
Oh, he's a great athlete.
Yeah, he's a great athlete. Absolutely.
Mitch Rossell is on Coffee Country and and Cody. What you going to play and sing first?
Man, I'm actually going to play a song that's coming out this Friday, too. We're playing the Franklin Theater Friday, and I got a song coming out Friday that's a real personal song to me, and just, I mean, like most of my stuff, just written from a real place, and just about, we live in a culture now that, man, everything, the world tells us that we can get everything quick. Everything just should be easy, and man, I just still believe that anything worth having takes some work. Takes some sacrifice, takes some time.
Back when things were automatic, as the song.
Yeah, Miranda, yeah, for sure.
All God's children said, "Amen."
Amen, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Libra, and I believe in the scale. See, that evens out dive bar. See, now you're balanced. Now you're balanced again. See?
I love it. I love it.
That's Mitch Rossell. And you can see a full show on Friday night at the Franklin Theater at 8 o'clock, and his other tour dates, you can pull them up on his website, and easy to find. But help you out, it's Rossell, 2 S's, 2 L's, MitchRossell.com. Thanks always for coming to see us.
Thank you all so much.
All right.
It's such a pleasure always. Thanks for having me.
And to your manager, babysitter, Chris Marcy, good morning, outside the studio window.
Man of many talents out there.
My friend, since like 1987,
Yeah.
we've known each other.
He's a good one.
Mitch Rossell. And as we head into Memorial Day weekend and just a few hours off the 2024 Salute to the Troops celebration last night, and my 100-year-old neighbor, Mr. Jimmy Wren, took time out from gardening to come to the Opry. It was my understanding he was coming last night with his son Robin and daughter-in-law Virginia.
Well, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, but we got to get back to farming today.
Well, yeah.
Got time for all this foolishness.
No.
We got to get back. We got squash, okra,
Right.
beans, corn. We've got things that need to be done.
Well, because I need to eat.
That's
so
right.
there are people like me who don't want to do work but need to eat. So someone's got to do the work.
Charlie, get over here and start this rototiller, would you please?
Hey, now I don't have many outdoor skills, but I was really good on the road because my grandfather had a huge garden. It wasn't a farm, but it was a garden.
Yeah.
But we had everything, and I could do the rototiller at about age 7 or 8. I was pretty good with it too.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
Tom Jones and Jerry Jones, my neighbors,
Yeah.
in the other direction,
Yeah.
setting tobacco.
Well,
You'll ride home this afternoon. I'll drop you off.
no.
They'll bring you home.
I'd rather take up smoking it again than set it.
I'd rather smoke it than set it.
That's a song in there somewhere.
All right. Well, on The Voice last night, it was a double win in that it was the season finale of The Voice and season 25. Reba, of course, is a coach on that show, and we will get to the victory for the season's winner here in just a moment. But the victory came for Lainey Wilson when Reba hopped up out of her chair and made her way to, because Lainey was performing on the show last night, made her way to the stage, and this happened. Watching
I
this.
was so proud of you at the ACMs the other night, and I couldn't be more proud to be the one that helps you continue to bridge the gap between our generations, keep them all going. I'd like to be the person to invite you to be a official member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, happy belated birthday, Lainey.
That's a birthday gift right there. Thank you so much.
Carson Daly, of course, hosts, and you got to see Dan and Shay and some of those shots there, too.
Holy moly.
That's so special.
She reminisced about the first time she was at the Opry, where her parents took her when she was 9.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see Little Jimmy Dickens, Whisperin' Bill Anderson, Crystal Gale were all on that night.
Wow. Well, her induction night that you'll be hosting is Friday, June 7th of CMA Week. That's like the next couple of weeks, so turn this one around in a hurry. It's a 2-show night, 7 and 9:30. Tickets are available, but won't be available long because they're going fast. Opry.com.
Yep, or the AXS app. You can get them as well. Yep.
Okay. All right. And then also, this is also what happened last night. Reba, her team Reba, and her contestant, who had the night before when they were doing their final solo run, did Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You, and then they got the duet with their coach on last night's show, Reba McEntire, again, Carson Daly.
Well, here is the moment we've all been waiting for. The queen. The winner of The Voice is Asher Havard.
Proud of Selma, Alabama. And told Reba, as a part of Team Reba, he didn't want to let her down. So, and he didn't. He won for Team Reba. She had a 1-2 combination last night among the finalists, as I understand it. And Scotty McCreery, talking about things to celebrate. He's got a lot to celebrate these days. Not only was he recently inducted into membership of the Grand Ole Opry, he is celebrating his 6th #1 single, Cab in a Solo in the Cab of My Truck, and big plans to celebrate in the days ahead. His Rise and Fall, his brand new album, is available everywhere. Wherever you get your music, it's there. 58 years and the farewell tour is on and making a stop in Nashville this fall for the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I was just looking it up here, Charlie. What did I tell you the name of the tour was earlier? I thought I had it pulled up here. They had the logo for it.
Yeah, it's got a cool name.
It's called All the Good Times.
There we go.
All the Good Times. Not For the Good Times. That was Ray Price. But All the Good Times, the farewell tour. And I got you tickets for the Nashville stop at the Ryman Auditorium on tomorrow's Coffee, Country, and Cody. All right? And then singer-songwriter Tim O'Connell will be here. He is the dad of Nashville's mayor, Freddie O'Connell. Family affair tomorrow.